Commander Jake Morrison stared out the window of his patrol ship as it drifted slowly around Kepler Station. He'd been at this job for 12 years now, checking incoming ships, verifying papers, keeping the peace. It was dull work, but someone had to do it. The station was massive and bustling. Ships from across the galaxy came here to trade. Purple-skinned Vorthak merchants sold their crystals. The tall, slender Etherius brought their haunting music. Even the rock-like granite people arrived with their forged metal goods. Jake had seen it all. "Commander, something strange on sensors," said his officer, a young Saurian named Kess. The lizard-like alien pointed at the screen with a clawed hand. "Big ship approaching, really big." Jake floated over for a look. Stations didn't have gravity like planets, so everyone got around by pushing off walls. He grabbed the edge of Kess's station and peered at the display. The ship was massive, larger than most trade vessels, much larger. "What kind of ship is it?" Jake asked. Kess frowned, his yellow eyes blinking slowly. "The computer says it's human, but that can't be right. Humans were exiled long ago." Jake felt a cold twist in his gut. Human. He'd heard the old stories. Humans were chaotic, violent, always asking questions. So the galaxy had cast them out 37 years ago, banished to the empty space beyond the outer rim. "Get me the station commander," Jake said. The main screen flickered on. Commander Vexar appeared. The burly Saurian's scarred face told stories of old wars. His voice was rough. "What is it, Morrison?" "A human ship is inbound, sir. A big one." Vexar paused. "Human? Are you certain?" "It's broadcasting old human codes. Very old." "Let me see." Jake sent the data to Vexar's office. As they waited, the ship loomed larger on the screen. Dark gray, bristling with weapons. It looked built for war, not trade. "I checked the old records," Vexar said. "The ship's name is Iron Vengeance. It was fought destroyed in the final battle before the humans vanished. But it's here. What do? We follow the law. Even humans can ask for safe passage. But watch them, Morrison, closely." Iron Vengeance entered the docking bay. Up close, Jake had never seen anything so massive. And it looked mean, black metal and menace, with sharp edges and gun ports everywhere. The ship looked ready for war, even while sitting still. A group of humans emerged from the vessel. Jake had never seen real humans before. They were smaller than most aliens, but they moved differently, quick and precise, like they were always expecting a fight. The man leading them was clearly in charge. Tall for a human, with short brown hair and gray eyes, his uniform was clean but worn, like it had seen action. He walked like a soldier. "I am Captain Alex Carter of the Earth ship Iron Vengeance," the human said. His voice was calm but firm. "I request permission to speak with the station commander." Jake floated down to meet them. "I'm Commander Morrison. Welcome to Kepler Station, Captain Carter." Carter nodded. "Thank you, Commander. We come in peace." The words sounded strange. Humans asking for peace. Jake remembered the stories. Wars, burning planets, chaos. But these humans didn't look like the wild fighters from legend. "Follow me," Jake said. They moved through the station's halls. Other aliens stopped to stare, some with fear, some with curiosity. The humans ignored the stares and kept walking. Commander Vexar waited in his office. The massive Saurian watched the humans with his cold, yellow eyes. "Captain Carter, I never thought I'd see humans in this part of space again." "Times change, Commander," Carter replied. "We've learned a lot during our time away." "Have you now?" Vexar leaned back. "And what brings you here?" "We wish to return to Earth, to our home." Vexar laughed. It wasn't a pleasant sound. "Earth isn't yours anymore, human. The crystalline people live there now. They mine it for metal." Carter's face didn't change. "We understand, but we still have the right of return. It's in the old laws." "The old laws." Vexar was silent for a long time. "Yes, I suppose you do." even after all this time. We've changed, Commander. We're not the same humans who left. We've learned peace. Jake watched Carter's face. The man looked honest and calm, but something felt off. Maybe it was the way Carter's eyes never stopped scanning, or the way his men stood ready to fight, even while speaking of peace. Very well, Vexar said. You may pass through our space, but you will be watched. Any sign of old human violence, and you'll be sent away again. We understand, Carter said. Thank you for your kindness. After the humans left, Jake remained in Vexar's office. Commander, something doesn't feel right about them. I know, Vexar said. But they have the right to try, and they do seem different. Calmer. Maybe that's what worries me. That night, Jake watched Iron Vengeance depart the station. The massive ship glided into the black of space. As it disappeared, he thought he saw a flash, like a signal light. But when he looked again, it was gone. Inside his quarters aboard Iron Vengeance, Captain Carter spoke softly into a comm device. Control, this is Carter. Phase 1 complete. They believe we've been broken by exile. A voice responded from far away. Understood, Carter. What's your assessment? Carter smiled. For the first time since arriving at the station, it wasn't a kind smile. Soft, Control, very soft. They've forgotten what we can do. Good. Continue to Earth. Let them see what they want to see. Roger that. Carter out. The captain looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth. Home, after 37 long years. It was time to go back. But not the way the aliens expected. Not as broken, humbled exiles. The galaxy was about to remember why it feared humans. Iron Vengeance moved like a ghost through space. Captain Carter stood on the bridge, eyes locked on the stars. Each one brought them closer to lost territory, closer to home. Next stop is Mars, sir, said Lieutenant Sam Rogers. The young officer had been born in exile. He had never seen Mars except in old pictures. The crystalline people have mining ops there now, he added. Carter nodded. Remember, Sam, we are humble. We are broken. We are sorry for the past. Yes, sir, but it's hard to act weak when we're not. That's our strength now, Carter said quietly. We've learned control. They never did. The ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Mars. The red planet looked changed. Huge machines covered the land. Massive holes scarred the surface. The iconic red dust was gone, replaced by gray dirt and metal. They've been busy, said Dr. Ellen Price, the science officer. She was older than most of the crew, old enough to remember Earth before exile. Mars used to be wild, red, and free, she said. Now it's just a mine. Carter's voice was calm, but his fists were clenched. A message came from the planet. Human ship, this is Mars Control. State your business. Carter sat in his captain's chair, made his face look weary. Mars Control, this is Captain Carter. We're returning to Earth, requesting permission to stop and resupply. Permission granted. Dock at Station 5. Administrator Zetha will meet you. Station 5 was carved into a mountain. It was ugly, practical, just metal and machines. As Iron Vengeance docked, Carter saw crystalline workers moving like insects. Administrator Zetha stood waiting. He was tall and thin, made of living crystal that shimmered in the light. When he spoke, his voice rang like wind chimes. Captain Carter, how interesting to see humans again. I've heard stories of your kind. We hope they weren't all terrible, Carter replied, keeping his tone humble. Oh, they were. Violence and chaos, wherever humans went. But you seem different, calmer. Exile taught us many things. We learned that fighting only brings pain. Zetha led them through the station. Everywhere they went, Carter and his men observed and remembered where the guards stood, how many weapons they carried, how the defense systems worked. We've made Mars far more efficient, Zetha said proudly. Humans wasted time on useless things, beauty, art, emotions. We focus on what matters, profit. They passed a window overlooking the planet's surface. Mining machines had carved deep scars into the ground. The ancient polar ice caps were gone. The thin atmosphere was choked with dust and smoke. "You've certainly changed things," Carter said. "For the better. Mars produces 10 times more resources now than it did under human control. We eliminated all the waste." "What about the humans who lived here? Where did they go?" "Labor camps on Earth. They work in factories now. A far better use of their time than the silly things they used to do." Carter's officer, Sam Rogers, stepped closer. His face was calm, but Carter saw the anger in his eyes. "What silly things?" "Oh, families, music, stories, pointless human emotions. We've made them more productive." "I see," Carter said. "How wise of you." That night, Carter met with his senior officers in a secure room aboard the ship. Dr. Price had been busy during the tour. "I made contact with the underground," she said quietly. "There are still humans hiding in the deep caves of Mars. They've been waiting for us." "What did they tell you?" Carter asked. "Terrible things. The crystalline people work humans to death in the mines. Children are taken from their parents at age 5. Families are torn apart. Anyone who complains disappears." Rogers slammed his fist on the table. "We should reduce this place to ashes right now." "No," Carter said firmly. "We stick to the plan. We learn everything first. Then we act." "How can you stay calm, sir? They're killing our people." Carter looked at the young officer. "Because anger without strategy is just rage, and rage is what got us exiled. We've learned to be better." The next morning, they left Mars, but not before Carter sent a coded message to the humans in the caves. "Help is coming soon." Over the next month, Iron Vengeance visited 6 more former human colonies. Every one told the same story. Aliens had taken over. Everything was efficient. No waste, no beauty, no humanity. On Europa, the ice moon of Jupiter, the Vorak had transformed underground oceans into massive fish farms. Humans now worked in the processing plants, cleaning fish for 16 hours a day. On Titan, the ethereals had built floating cities in the clouds. Humans lived underground, mining methane gas in darkness. They hadn't seen sunlight in decades. At Proxima Colony, the Granite people had wiped out all human settlements. They sent humans were too chaotic. Now the planet was a military base. At every stop, Carter played his role. He was humble. He was sorry. He was thankful for alien kindness. And each time, he learned troop numbers, weapon types, communication frequencies, structural weaknesses. Dr. Price made contact with human survivors at every colony. The underground resistance was larger than the aliens realized. Humans had been hiding and waiting for 37 years. "They never gave up hope," she told Carter after they left Titan. "They always believed someone would return for them." "Someone did," Carter said. Finally, they reached Earth. From space, the blue planet looked unchanged. But Carter knew, up close, it would be different. The aliens had been here longest. They'd had more time to reshape everything. Earth Control granted them landing permission at the site that once was New York. The city was gone. In its place stood a sprawling industrial complex. Smoke poured from thousands of factories. The air was thick and gray. Governor Quillnex greeted them at the spaceport. The Saurian was fat and slow, his scales covered in gaudy golden ornaments. He moved like someone who had never rushed in his life. "Captain Carter, welcome to Earth, or as we call it now, Production Center Prime." "Thank you, Governor. It's good to be home." "Home? Yes, I suppose it was once, but we've made it much better, much more useful." They rode through the city in a ground car. Where Central Park had once been, a vast factory now roared. The Statue of Liberty was gone, replaced by a monument to alien efficiency. "We produce more goods here than any other planet," Quillnex boasted. Humans are excellent workers, once you train them properly. Train them? Oh yes, we had to break old habits, thinking for themselves, asking questions, dreaming of better things. All very inefficient behaviors. Carter kept his expression neutral. And how did you train them? Discipline, hard work, proper nutrition. We give them just enough food to work, but not enough to dream. Very scientific. They stopped at a work site. Hundreds of humans in gray uniforms labored on a new structure. Their faces were thin and hollow. Guards with electric sticks monitored them closely. An old man stumbled while carrying a heavy load. The weight dropped from his arms with a dull thud. A guard raised his stick to strike him. The old man looked up and saw Carter wearing his Earth Defense uniform. "Pete Walker," the old man whispered. "I remember you. You were on the Titan Defense Force." Carter stepped forward. "I'm sorry, I don't remember you." "Probably not. I was just a mechanic. But I remember the uniform. Earth Defense Force. I never thought I'd see it again." Governor Quillnex pushed between them. "Get back to work, human. Don't bother our guests." Pete looked at Carter one last time. "We never stopped believing," he said quietly. "We knew someone would come back." Then he picked up his load and walked away. That night, Carter stood alone in his quarters aboard the ship. He spoke into his secure communicator. "Control, this is Carter. Reconnaissance complete. They're soft, weak, foolish. They think they've broken us." "Good. Are you ready for the next phase?" Carter looked out at Earth, his home, the cradle of human dreams. "More than ready. Control, send the fleet. The fleet is already moving. It will arrive in 3 days." Carter smiled. "Then in 3 days, the galaxy will remember what humans really are." Far beyond the edge of known space, where no stars shone and no alien ship had dared to go, something stirred. It was not one ship. It was thousands. A fleet so massive it could block out the stars. Commander Rachel Stone stood on the bridge of Haven's Edge, the great human battle station. Born in exile, like most of her generation, she had never seen Earth. But she dreamed of it every night, the blue world her people once called home. "Commander, message from Captain Carter," said her communications officer, Lisa Beld. Rachel took the data tablet. Her eyes scanned the report. Her face hardened. She read what the aliens had done, to Earth, to Mars, to every human colony. When she finished, she looked out into the void. "Send word to Admiral Phillips. Tell her it's time." The message shot across the fleet. On hundreds of ships, humans prepared for war. But these weren't the humans the galaxy remembered. These were different, harder, smarter, deadlier. Admiral Kate Phillips received the transmission aboard her flagship, the Revenge. She was 60 now, and had been fighting since childhood. She remembered the day humans were cast out of their worlds. She remembered the tears, the fury, the oath. "We will return. All ship commanders, report to the briefing room," she ordered. One by one, holographic images filled the chamber. Captains from across the fleet. Men and women forged in exile. Warriors raised in darkness, trained for this day. They had one goal: take back what was theirs. "You've all read Captain Carter's report," Admiral Phillips began. "The aliens think we're broken. They think 37 years of exile made us weak." Captain Ben Foster, commander of the destroyer Lightning, spoke up. "They're about to learn just how wrong they are." "Yes, they are." Dr. Clark, intelligence summary. Dr. Tony Clark stepped forward, the fleet's chief strategist, an old, wiry man with a steel trap memory for every alien ship and station. "The aliens have grown complacent," he said. "They've lived in peace too long. Their defenses are soft. Their responses are slow. They think they're untouchable." "What about their fleets?" asked Captain Maria Rodriguez of Wolfpack Squadron. "Scattered," Clark replied. "Most of their ships are patrolling trade lanes or policing colonies. They never expected a real war. Admiral Phillips nodded. We hit fast and hard, before they can regroup, before they can scream for help. What about the humans still on the ground? Asked Colonel Jack Turner, Marine Corps commander. We can't bomb everything. We won't have to, Phillips answered. Dr. Price has spent years building an underground network. They're ready. They'll help. A young captain, Amy Sullivan, raised her hand. Born aboard a warship, she'd never seen a planet, never known peace. Admiral, what if they surrender? What if they beg for mercy? The room went still. Admiral Phillips scanned the faces of her captains. These people had lost everything. Their homes, their families, their childhoods. Some had never stepped on Earth. They had 37 years to show mercy, she said. They chose not to. Now they face the consequences. The briefing ended. The captains returned to their ships. Across the fleet, humans, they made their final preparations, checked weapons, said quiet prayers, gazed at old images of Earth, pictures they'd only seen in dusty videos. Lieutenant Amy Sullivan walked the halls of her ship, the Fury. Her crew was young, like her, born in exile, trained from birth for this mission. They knew every alien ship layout, every weapon type, every weak point. You scared? Asked her gunner, Carl Davis. No, Amy replied. I'm excited. We're finally going home. The fleet began to move. Thousands of ships, all painted black to blend with the stars. No lights, no signals, not a flicker of movement that could be detected. They had mastered invisibility in exile. The first strike wasn't Earth, it was Centauri Prime, the Alien Alliance's communications hub. Without it, the enemy couldn't warn each other. Captain Chris Anderson led the first attack group. His ship, the Retribution, spearheaded 50 others toward the station. They advanced slow and silent, predators in the dark. Scanners detect 300 alien ships around the station, reported the officer. Any sign they've noticed us? No, sir. Stealth systems holding perfectly. Anderson grinned. Alien ships were sleek, comfy, decorative. Human ships were invisible and deadly. All ships prepare to engage. Remember, we take the station intact. We need their comms gear. The fleet surrounded Centauri Prime. Inside, the aliens were clueless, relaxed, thinking of home, families, meals. Sir, we're in position. Anderson's tactical officer confirmed. Good. Signal Admiral Phillips. Time to announce our return. Far behind them, Admiral Kate Phillips received the message. She stood on the bridge, watching the stars. Earth was somewhere out there. After 37 years, they were finally going home. All ships, she called. This is Admiral Phillips. Today, we reclaim what was stolen. Today, we remind the galaxy what happens when you try to erase humanity. Today, we go home. She paused. She thought of the fallen, of children born in ships, of memories lost, of hope barely held. Remember, we are not the same species they exiled. We are stronger, we are smarter, we are united, and we are very, very angry. Attack at Centauri Prime. Anderson's ships decloak. 1 second. Space was empty. The next, it burned with black warships. The aliens had seconds. Defensive grids blinked to life. Sirens wailed. Officers rushed to their stations. Too late. Humans had planned this moment for decades. Every maneuver was rehearsed. Every strike, precise. Alien vessels erupted in silent explosions, brilliant flowers of fire. Their weapons bounced off human shields. Their formations collapsed. Their courage shattered. They weren't fighting the broken humans of old. They were fighting something reborn. Station is surrendering, sir, said Anderson's comms officer. Good. Send in the Marines. Secure the control room. I want to speak to the entire galaxy. Colonel Turner's Marines hit the station like ghosts. Swift, silent, unstoppable. They seized everything of value. Aliens curled in corners, locked themselves in supply rooms, too afraid to resist. Within an hour, Centauri Prime belonged to humanity. Admiral Phillips got the update. Phase 1, complete. Open a galaxy-wide channel, she ordered. The comms officer nodded. Channel open. Admiral Phillips faced the camera. Her voice was cold, measured. People of the galaxy, I am Admiral Kate Phillips, Human Defense Fleet. We have returned from exile. We have come home. Any who stand in our way will be destroyed. Any who harm humans will be destroyed. Any who do not surrender will be destroyed. She paused. You tried to break us. You failed. You tried to erase us. You failed. You tried to make us forget who we are. You failed. We are humanity. We are home. And we are not the species you remember. The message ended. Across the stars, alien leaders watched in horror. Screens filled with images of human warships, designs they had never seen before. Dark, terrible ships that made their fleets look like museum toys. On Earth, Governor Quillneck saw it from his office. His jeweled hands trembled. His blood ran cold. He slammed his emergency beacon. Get me High Command! The humans! They're back! All of them! But High Command wasn't answering. The comm lines to Centauri Prime had gone dark. The humans had cut off the Alliance's brain. Now, the body would flail, lost and blind, while humanity took back what belonged to them. The war had begun, and the galaxy was about to learn a brutal truth. Exile didn't break humanity. It forged them into something far worse, something the universe had never seen before, something that would not be stopped. The attack began at dawn. On Earth, Governor Quill was having breakfast when the sky turned black with ships. He dropped his plate and ran to the window. Hundreds of human warships floated above the city, like a storm ready to strike. Impossible, he whispered. Where did they all come from? His communicator buzzed with urgent voices. Governor, human ships are attacking. They're hitting our defense stations. Quill next grabbed his emergency device. Signal the fleet. Tell them to get here now. Sir, we can't. Communications are down. Humans destroyed Centauri Prime. His legs buckled. He sank into his chair. How many ships? We don't know. Our sensors can't count them all. Above the city, Captain Maria Rodriguez led her destroyer squadron in a tight formation. Alien defense turrets opened fire, but their tech was ancient. The human ships danced through space, fast and deadly. Target orbital guns first, Maria ordered. Then take out their comm towers. Leave the factories, we'll need them. Alien gunners fired wildly, but they missed. Those few who hit, their blasts bounced off human shields like pebbles. In minutes, Maria's fleet shredded the defenses. Some alien crews didn't even finish their distress calls before their platforms blew apart. On the planet below, Colonel Jack Turner's Marines landed near the human labor camps. The alien guards froze, confused, afraid. They had never seen real soldiers before. Most just ran. Secure the camps, Turner barked. Get our people safe. Then we deal with the rest. Sergeant Paul Davis led his unit through the main gates. The prisoners inside stared in disbelief. Soldiers in human armor kicked down the doors. We're here to take you home, Davis told them. An old woman began crying. I knew you'd come back. I knew you wouldn't forget us. Never, Davis said. We never forgot. Camp after camp fell. Some alien guards surrendered. Most fled. Those who resisted, well, they didn't last long. The Marines had trained for this moment for 37 years. They moved like machines, but fought like people with something to prove. At the governor's palace, Quill Nex was in chaos. His officers shouted conflicting reports. Sir, human ships are landing all over the planet. Bases falling, one by one, comm lines cut. We should surrender, said his military chief. We can't fight them. Not with what we have. Surrender? To humans? They're just clever animals. We taught them their place once. We can do it again. Sir, the officer said quietly, these are not the same humans. They have ships we don't understand, weapons we've never seen. They move like they've planned this for decades. Before Quillnex could reply, boom, the wall of his office exploded inward. Smoke cleared. Colonel Turner stepped through with 6 armed Marines. The aliens inside dropped their weapons and raised their hands. "Governor Quillnex," Turner said, "you are under arrest for crimes against humanity. You can't do this. I represent the Galactic Council. I have diplomatic immunity." Turner smiled. It was not kind. The Galactic Council doesn't exist anymore. We just wiped out their capital. As for your immunity, you lost that the day you enslaved our people. Marines dragged Quillnex away. All around him he heard explosions, screams, orders. But it wasn't really fighting. It was just aliens running. Humans were taking back what was theirs. In orbit above Earth, the alien fleet finally arrived. Admiral Corrin led 60 warships, everything the Saurians could throw together fast. He was confident, arrogant. "We've faced humans before," he told his officers. "They're brave but foolish. Heart over strategy. We'll crush them." But when they exited faster than light travel, they saw something unexpected. Human ships already waiting. Not scattered like raiders, but arrayed in perfect battle lines. A real navy. "Sir," Corrin's scan officer said, pale. "Over 200 ships, all military grade, all armed with unfamiliar weapons." A cold shiver ran through Corrin. "That's impossible. Where did they get this fleet?" Then came the transmission. Admiral Phillips appeared on screen. Older now, weathered, but her eyes burned with steel. "Admiral Corrin," she said, calm and lethal. "I am Admiral Kate Phillips. You have one chance. Surrender. Take it." Corrin puffed up, trying to sound strong. "Human, you are outnumbered, outgunned. If you surrender now, we might let you live." Phillips smirked. "Outnumbered? Let me show you something." The space around Corrin's fleet shimmered, then changed. More human ships appeared. Dozens, hundreds, declaking, surrounding the alien fleet on all sides. The trap had closed. Over 500 human warships, armed, aimed, ready. "Now," Phillips asked, "would you like to reconsider?" Corrin looked at his tactical display. His officers stared in horror. The human ships had them dead to rights. They could fire at will. The aliens wouldn't last a minute. "This is impossible," he whispered. "We whispered we sent you away. You were broken, defeated." "No," Phillips replied. "You sent us to school. You taught us the galaxy only respects strength. Thank you for the lesson. I surrender." "Good," she said. "Order your ships to power down their weapons and prepare to be boarded." The battle for Earth was over. It had lasted less than 6 hours. The humans hadn't just won. They dominated, so completely that most aliens never even got a shot off. Dr. Kevin Lee, the fleet's psychological warfare expert, began broadcasting messages across alien systems. "This," he said, showing burning ships and captured governors, "is what happens to those who harm humanity. We are not the species you remember. We are what you created, and now we're coming for all of you." The effect was immediate. Across dozens of alien worlds, leaders held emergency sessions. Some wanted war. Some wanted peace. Most just wanted to vanish. Captain Nicole Brown oversaw the interrogations of captured alien officers. She had studied alien psychology, knew their fears, their drives, their pride. "You thought exile would break us," she told Admiral Corrin, locked in a cold me. "It taught us focus. You thought taking our homes would make us weak. It made us relentless. You thought cutting us off from the galaxy would contain us. It let us evolve." "What do you want?" Corrin asked bitterly. "Revenge? To rule like tyrants?" "We want what we've always wanted," Brown replied. "To go home, to live in peace, to raise our children without fear. The difference is, now we know how to guarantee it." "And if we resist?" Brown's face remained calm, her voice even. But her eyes were ice. "Then you'll learn what 37 years of focused anger looks like. Across the stars, The message echoed. Humanity had returned, stronger, sharper, unified, dangerous. The species once banished for being too violent had spent decades learning to turn violence into a discipline. The galaxy had tried to teach humanity a lesson. Instead, it had forged a nightmare. A human race that had turned its weakness into unmatched strength. The war wasn't over. Alien fleets still needed to be crushed. Worlds still had to be freed. Human lives were still waiting in chains. But the hardest part was done. The galaxy had learned. Humanity was back, and this time they weren't leaving. 6 months after humanity's return, the galaxy looked different. In the once untouchable Great Council chambers, where aliens once made laws about humans, President Carol Hughes now sat at the head of the table. She was composed, courteous, but every word she spoke carried weight. "The new trade agreements are fair," she said, scanning the room slowly. "Humans will provide protection and tech. You provide labor and resources. Everyone benefits." The crystalline ambassador raised his gleaming hand. "President Hughes, what of our mining operations on Mars? We've invested heavily in those facilities." "You may keep them," Hughes replied smoothly, "but you will now follow human safety laws and pay human workers fair wages." "But that will reduce our profits significantly." She smiled, polite but glacial. "Administrator Zika said the same thing. Would you like to ask him how that conversation ended?" The crystalline ambassador stared down at his notes. Everyone knew what had happened to Zika. He was now laboring in the same mines he once exploited. 16 hours a day, digging, bleeding, sweating. Commander Jake Morrison watched from the back of the chamber. Still a patrol officer, but now he worked for humans, not aliens. The job? Mostly the same. But the galaxy? The galaxy felt new, safer in some ways, more dangerous in others. Humans didn't rule through fear like the old regimes. They ruled through precision. Every ship in position, every officer on point, just as they turned war into a brutal, brilliant art. After the meeting, he walked through the station corridors. The place looked the same, but it felt different. Human security officers stood at key checkpoints, calm, professional. They didn't strut, they didn't threaten, they didn't need to. Everyone already knew what they were capable of. Dr. Lisa Bennett found Morrison on the observation deck, gazing into the stars. Since the humans took over, she'd been promoted to head of xenobiological studies. Her job now, figuring out how different species could peacefully coexist. "How are you adjusting to the new order?" she asked. Morrison sighed. "It's strange. The humans are more polite than the old council ever was. But somehow, they're also more frightening." "How so?" "The old council ruled with cruelty and fear. You always knew where you stood. But the humans, they rule through excellence. They're so good at everything that resisting them just feels pointless." Bennett nodded slowly. "I've been studying human psychology since their return. They're not the species we exiled. Exile didn't break them. It refined them. Into what? Into perfect rulers. They learned to control their emotions without losing their humanity. They became efficient without turning cruel. They found strength without becoming bullies." Morrison watched a human patrol ship glide past the station, moving with perfect precision. Every crew member in sync like pieces in a machine. But he knew those crew had families, dreams, inside jokes, warm hearts. "Sometimes I wonder," he murmured, "if we created our own replacements." On Earth, the planet was healing. The gray factories were being dismantled, replaced with parks and homes. The poisoned air grew cleaner with each sunrise. Children now played in streets where slaves once marched to work. Captain Alex Carter walked the ruins of what was once New York. The city was being rebuilt, but not the way it was. Better, cleaner, Wiser, more human. They weren't just rebuilding, they were renewing. Pete Walker, the same old man who'd recognized Carter's uniform, was now the city's mayor. He was aged, but his eyes burned with fresh hope. "Never thought I'd live to see this," Pete said, as they watched construction crews raise a new school. "My grandkids, they'll grow up free." "That was always the plan," Carter replied. "We just had to wait for the right time." 37 years is a long time to wait. It gave us time to plan, time to prepare, time to become what we had to be. They watched the human children run and laugh, completely unburdened. No memory of chains, no shadow of fear, no trace of hopelessness. Admiral Kate Phillips stood on the bridge of her flagship, now orbiting Earth. Reports poured in from all over the galaxy. Human fleets patrolling trade routes, human colonies rising on new worlds, human scientists making discoveries meant for everyone. "Admiral," her comms officer said, "message from the Outer Rim. The exploration fleet has found something interesting." Phillips read the report, her brows lifted. "A new solar system, uninhabited, perfect for colonization. Should we send a survey team?" She looked out at the stars. The galaxy was vast, teeming with wonders, new worlds to explore, new species to meet, new questions to answer. Humanity wasn't trapped anymore, not on a planet, not in a system. They were free. "Yes," she said, "send the Pathfinder. Full scientific team. It's time to see what else is out there." In his quarters aboard Iron Vengeance, Captain Carter received Philip's message. New worlds to chart, new threats, new growth. He thought of the long road behind them. 37 years ago, humans had been chaotic, angry, unstable. The galaxy exiled them, to teach them a lesson. And it had. Just not the one anyone expected. Humans had learned control, discipline, unity, purpose. They had learned how to be better, but they had not learned how to be weak. Carter opened a comm channel. "To the bridge. Plot a course to the Outer Rim. We've got new worlds to explore." "Yes, sir. Any specific destination?" He smiled, staring at the star charts. "So many paths, so many dreams. The stars are calling," he said. "We follow wherever they lead." Lieutenant Sam Rogers, now captain of his own ship, received similar orders. He was young, born during exile. Now, he commanded a vessel capable of reaching anywhere in the galaxy. The future wasn't just open, it was radiant. "Sir," asked his navigator, "what do you think we'll find out there?" Rogers thought for a moment. Friends, enemies, wonders, nightmares, tests of everything they had become. "I don't know," he answered, "but whatever it is, we'll be ready." The human fleet spread across the stars, like seeds caught on the wind, not to conquer, to explore, not to destroy, to build, not to take, but to. The galaxy had tried to teach humanity a lesson about power. Instead, humanity had learned about responsibility. With great strength came duty. With great ability came accountability. The aliens had wanted to make humans smaller, but they'd made them larger. Not in size, in soul, in purpose. The exile was over, the sentence lifted, but the journey was just beginning. High above Earth, the fleet stood ready, ships filled with scientists, explorers, dreamers. They didn't carry bombs. They carried tools, blueprints. These weren't warships. They were the vessels of rebirth. The stars were calling, and humanity was answering. In the observation deck of his flagship, Admiral Carter looked into the infinite black, pierced with infinite light. Each star, a story. Each world, a chance. "We have returned," he whispered, "and now we move forward." Hope. The galaxy taught humanity that exile could be endured. Now, humanity would teach the galaxy that exile could be overcome. The banishment had ended in fire, but from the flames, something had risen, stronger, kinder, wiser. something that would never be exiled again.